All right, folks, so we are back. It is Lab 9, and one of your first tasks is to visualize topographic points and a topographic surface. So I'm going to explain to you how to do that today. From the Lab 9 documents and links handout, the first thing you're going to want to do is go down and select either your AM or PM points. I'm going to click on this here. And this is essentially the same set of points that you have already downloaded and imported. But now we want to treat them as topo. So once I have downloaded them, I'm going to go to my downloads folder, copy and paste them into my project 2 folder. And my first encouragement, what I'm going to tell you to do is you might want to do this as an entire lab group. You might want to do this just within your group of 3. You need to decide which of these points represent topography. And so this is a question for how these points were collected. So topo points are obviously going to be topography. What about RW, SW, LP? If the bottom of the prism was on the ground, these points count as topography. So I would encourage you to have a discussion as a group. I am going to pause this and remove some of these points, and then I'm going to pick this back up. All right, I have saved my topo file, and now I'm going back into my drawing, whatever stage it is at, with points removed and any outlines or information that I've already drawn. And here I just have a simple outline of a hypothetical building. It's a part of Skillman, but you will obviously have something way more complex shown on the screen. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import those points again. So points menu, import points. You are going to find your set of topo points. And then very important is that you select the right order. So P, N, E, Z. P stands for point number, N stands for northing, E stands for easting, Z stands for elevation, and D stands for description. We are going to add these points to a group, and I'm going to click this and give this a new group called ground. And I'm going to say, okay. When this happens, again, these points should appear, and if you get errors, that's okay. Doesn't like the way that certain points are numbered, and that's all right. So these are the points that I am saying represent bare ground. You might be saying different points represent bare ground. This is just a hypothetical demonstration. So in this case, we are going to be visualizing a topographic surface. And the way that we do this is using something called tool space. So we haven't used tool space before, and that's okay. You can click tool space over here to make it appear and disappear. We have used settings before, but we haven't really used prospector, which is what we want to make use of today. If we expand point groups, we're going to see ground here. This is our point group that has all of our easting, northing, point elevations, and descriptions in there. So something else I want to point out, if you want to figure out where it is displayed, if you zoom over, you're going to see point layer. It is on V node. So if I go up to layer properties and scroll down to V node, I can turn this off and on and make the points disappear. V node text makes the descriptions appear or disappear. So in this case, I have all of these points. My goal is to visualize the contours. What I'm going to do first is click on surfaces. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say create surface. I want it to be a tin surface, and it's telling me where it's going to appear, C-topo. So that is going to create a layer up here that shows the topography. We're going to change the style from contours at 2 and 10 to contours at 1 and 5. And I'm going to say design and render. We're going to say, yeah, we can, oh no, just went away. You can stick with whatever they have as the default, which is totally fine. And I'm going to say, okay. So with that surface, we are going to start to visualize what is happening. So our first step, we have our ground point group, and we have our surface visualized here. We want to tell our surface what points should be in there. So if we expand under definition, this is where we're going to be able to make some changes. Under point groups, we are going to right click and say add, and we are going to grab our ground surface points. And look at this, it already appears and we are ready to go. And you have your contour shown, which is pretty cool. So this is how far I'd like you to get today. And by looking at this, you might be able to see points that you should exclude or include based on the appearance of your surface. So I have included probably points I should not have based on the way that the topography looks. And that's okay. You can make changes to that. So you can always delete or exclude points from your point group ground, and that will regenerate your surface. To get it to refresh, right? You can right click down here and click refresh and it's ready to go. I also want to show you two other things that not everybody needs to do, but you might want to do to improve the way that this appears. So we can use boundaries in this scenario. Maybe you want your outline of your building to appear more clearly, and we can exclude the contours from the building. That's a place where we don't know the contours, and so we might want to fill that in instead. What I'm going to do is go down here and turn off the points and turn off the text so that I just see my contours. And as a reminder, you can change certain properties associated with this on the C topo line, and I'm betting you can consult Google and figure out ways to update the appearance of these contour lines if you wanted to change certain things about them. So boundaries are what we're going to play around with next. In this case, we can add boundaries. We can add outer boundaries, we can add hide boundaries, and those are the two things that I want to cover. So the outer boundary, you're probably not going to mess with. But if you wanted to, I'm going to show you how to do this. So we have an outer boundary. It is shown as this green line, P line. I'm going to show you how to add a boundary. You could put it on a different layer if you wanted. Actually, I'm going to put it on a different layer. I'm going to put it on, I'm just going to pick a random layer and I'm going to draw a P line. It's important that these are P lines because it knows that P lines are connected. Civil 3D knows that P lines are connected. So I am going to draw a boundary. And I am going to connect it up here. I'm going to turn this back on. And I am going to escape. And if I right click on boundaries and say add, I'm going to say outer edge as my outer boundary. And I can select that outer boundary and it makes everything else disappear. All right, the next thing that I can do is add an inner boundary, place where I want to hide the lines. So I'm going to call this building edge. Again, it needs to be a P line. So I'm going to select this and press enter, and all of a sudden those disappear. This won't work if the start and end of your P line is not connected. So if you're having an issue with that, that's the thing you want to check. There's a lot you can do with contours. You can add labeling on them. You can change their appearance. So I would encourage you to play around with some of those options and explore things that you can do.